Chapter 2 Databases in Excel. Pre-processing. Working with databases in Excel, data validation, scenario manager, displaying subtotals, goal seek, pivot table. A database is an organized collection of structured information or data typically stored electronically in a computer system. Data within most common types of databases is typically organized in rows and columns. The data can then be easily accessed, managed, modified, updated, controlled, and organized. Working with databases in Excel. Excel is not a database management system, but still provides several features that let you work with data and manipulate it in different ways. Excel databases provide a simple way to analyze data, such as sales numbers and forecasts, look at various calculations, and compare different data sets. Creating a database table. A table in Excel is a simple way to organize data in the form of a database. Tables enable sorting, filtering, and presenting data in a lucid manner. Creating a database table is similar to creating any spreadsheet in Excel. The important point to remember is that each column of values in the data must have a heading. To create a database table in Excel, 1. Create a worksheet as shown in the image. 2. On the Insert tab, click the Table button in the Tables group. The Create Table dialog box appears. 3. Specify the cell range that holds the data in the required data. Mark the My Table Has Headers checkbox. 4. Click the OK button. Excel converts the selected data into a data table. Filter buttons appear on the column headings. The rows in the data are displayed in banded colors for greater visibility. The Table Tools Design tab appears on the ribbon. It provides options to format and change the design of the data table in different ways. 5. On the Design tab, type a new name for the table in the Table Name box in the Properties group. 6. On the Design tab, click the More button in the Table Styles group. A gallery of various table color schemes appears. 7. Select a desired theme from the gallery. Excel changes the color scheme of the data table. Displaying subtotals. You can automatically calculate subtotals and grand totals in a list of data for a column by using the subtotal command. Subtotals are not supported in Excel tables. Thus, you need to convert an Excel table into a normal list of data before you apply subtotals to it. If the workbook is set to automatically calculate formulas, the subtotal command recalculates the subtotal and grand total values automatically as you edit the detailed data. The subtotal command also outlines the list so that you can display and hide the detailed rows for each subtotal. You can choose the function to apply to subtotals and grand total values from one of the functions: sum, count, max, min, average, and product. Subtotals feature works best on data with column headings. The data in the range must be sorted on one or more columns so that the grouping of values is done correctly. To apply subtotals on a list of data in Excel, 1. Create the worksheet as shown in the image. 2. Sort the data on the basis of the columns you want to apply subtotals to. Excel sorts the data accordingly. 3. On the Data tab, click the Subtotal button in the Outline group. Excel displays a message to include the headings of the column in your selected data. 4. Click the Yes button. The Subtotal dialog box appears. 5. Select the column on which the subtotals should be applied from the At Each Change in drop-down list. 6. Select the function to calculate the subtotals from the Use function drop-down list. 7. Select the columns whose subtotals should be calculated from the Add Subtotal to list of options. 8. Click the OK button. Excel applies the subtotals as per the selected criteria and displays the worksheet as shown in the image. To remove the subtotals from a list of values, 1. Select a cell in the list on which subtotals are applied. 2. On the Data tab, click the Subtotal button in the outline group. 3. In the Subtotal dialog box, click the Remove All button. Excel removes all subtotals and grand totals from the list of values. Data validation. Data validation is a feature in Excel which is used to control what values a user can enter into a cell. It restricts the type of values that can be entered in a cell and can provide the user with instructions for entering information in a cell. To apply data validation rules to a spreadsheet, 1. Create the worksheet as shown in the image. Observe that the values for the class, section, and grade columns are specified separately. These will be used for creating the validation rules for the corresponding columns. 2. Select the cell range on which you wish to apply a validation rule. 3. On the Data tab, click the Data Validation button in the Data Tools group. The Data Validation dialog box opens. 4. On the Settings tab, click the Allow List box arrow button and select the list option from the list that opens. 5. In the Source box, specify the cell range that contains the permitted values for the column. 6. On the Input Message tab, specify a title and a message in the Title and Input Message box respectively. 7. On the Error Alert tab, specify a title, an error message, and the style for the Error Alert dialog box in case the user enters an invalid value. 8. Click the OK button. 9. Enter the data under the column headings. A message is displayed under the class heading to help you enter correct data. In case you enter invalid data, a dialog box informing you about the error is displayed. Goal Seek. Goal Seek is a feature in Excel that determines what value you should enter in an input cell to get the desired result in a formula cell. You need to specify 3 values for the Goal Seek feature. A. Formula cell. B. Target desired value. C. The cell to change in order to achieve the target. It performs all the calculations in the background and displays the optimal result to you. Knowledge discovery. What if analysis is the process of changing the values in cells to see how those changes will affect the outcome of formulas on the worksheet. By using what if analysis tools in Excel, you can use several different sets of values in one or more formulas to explore all the various results. Scenario Manager. A scenario is a set of values that Excel saves and can substitute automatically on your worksheet. You can create and save different groups of values as scenarios and then switch between them to view the different results. For example, the owner of a company may want to compare the results of giving his employees an increment of 5% or 10% in salary. The Scenario Manager tool in Excel helps create and manage scenarios in a worksheet. Pivot Table. A pivot table is a powerful tool to calculate, summarize, and analyze data that lets you see comparisons, patterns, and trends in your data. It allows us to transform columns into rows and rows into columns. It allows grouping by any field, column, and performing advanced calculations on them. The pivot part of a pivot table arises from the fact that you can rotate or pivot the data in the table to view it from a different perspective. Pivot tables are especially useful with large amounts of data that would be time-consuming to calculate by hand. A few data processing functions a pivot table can perform include identifying sums, averages, ranges, or outliers. The table then arranges this information in a simple, meaningful layout that draws attention to key values. To create a pivot table in Excel, 1. Create a worksheet as shown in the image. 2. On the Insert tab, click the Recommended Pivot Tables button in the Tables group. The Recommended Pivot Tables dialog box opens. 3. Select the desired pivot table layout and click the OK button. A pivot table is created based on the selected layout and displayed on a new sheet in the workbook. The Pivot Table Fields pane opens on the right side of Excel window. The Pivot Table Tools Analyze and Design tabs appear on the ribbon. To change the layout of the pivot table, 1. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, drag a column heading to one of the panes, Filters, Columns, Rows, or Values. 2. As you drag the columns to the various panes, the pivot table layout changes accordingly. The Filters pane column is displayed at the top of the pivot table in the worksheet. The result of the formula applied to the column in the Values pane is displayed as values in the pivot table. To view data for a selected filter, 1. Click the arrow in the All cell. A list of values appears. 2. Select the desired filter value and click the OK button. The pivot table displays the result as per the selected filter. Knowledge discovery. You can interchange the rows, columns, and summarized values in a pivot table to look at the data from a different perspective. Drag the desired column names from one pane to another to change the layout of the pivot table. Database. The Transpose feature in Excel lets you transpose data arranged in rows and columns so that the rows becomes columns and vice versa. This lets you view the data from a different perspective. To transpose the data, 1. Select the range of data you want to rearrange, including any row or column labels, and press Ctrl+C. 2. Choose a new location in the worksheet where you want to paste the transposed data. 3. On the Home tab, click the Paste Down arrow in the Clipboard group and select the Transpose option. Post-processing. A database is an organized collection of structured information or data typically stored electronically in a computer system. Tables in Excel is a simple way to organize data. You can automatically calculate subtotals and grand totals in a list of data for a column by using the subtotal command. Data validation is a feature in Excel which is used to restrict the type of values that can be entered in a cell and can provide the user with instructions for entering information in a cell. Goal Seek is a feature in Excel that determines what value you should enter in an input cell to get the desired result in a formula cell. A scenario is a set of values that Excel saves and can substitute automatically on your worksheet. A pivot table is a powerful tool to calculate, summarize, and analyze data that lets you see comparisons, patterns, and trends in your data.